So, welcome to the Entrepreneur Cast, your source for tactical lessons in entrepreneurship from a real cast of entrepreneurs. I'm Sam McRoberts.
And I'm Jayson DeMers.
And today we're going to talk about the 10 ways that you need to change your marketing during the coronavirus pandemic.
So, Sam, have you seen any examples of marketers or marketing campaigns that are doing it right or wrong right now amidst this crisis?
A bit of both. It feels like everybody under the sun has somebody running their email marketing who is compelled to send out, hey, we're all in this together and times are rough, but please buy our shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting a lot of that, which
Yeah.
is a bit tone deaf. Good examples, I feel like there are a lot of companies, particularly software as a service companies right now, including the one we're using to record this, Zencastr, that are offering, they're either expanding the offerings for their free tiers or giving you, a longer free trial, or in some cases, people have made their tools or their training completely free, which I think is really cool to do if you can afford to do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that, from what I'm seeing, I'm definitely seeing the huge emails that say, it's like for no reason, I got this email from PayPal the other day, and I think probably millions of other people did too. And it's like a 900-word email, from their CEO, basically saying nothing's changing. We're still running. Good luck with everything out there. And it's kind of like, yeah, no shit. I'm glad you guys are still running. You're a multi-billion-dollar company. I'm sure you're fine. And thanks for letting me know. Thanks for taking 5 minutes of my time to read that huge email.
Right? Considering how many customers they have, that was probably like a $10,000 email.
Oh God.
What's the point?
Yeah. What is the point? I feel like a lot of CEOs or owners are feeling almost like they need to follow the leader. And if they see all these other emails coming in, they're like, oh shit, we need to do something too. We need to send out an email too. Why? I don't really know. But if everyone else is doing it, maybe we should too.
So this is the business equivalent of hoarding toilet paper.
That's what it is. Yeah, I think you're right. Well, yeah. So in terms of people doing it right, the one example for me that sticks out would be, I'm not sure if you saw this, but just a couple days ago, John Krasinski, the actor of The Office and also known for A Quiet Place and other movies, launched a YouTube channel called Some Good News. And holy shit, there's only one video up so far. But as of last night, when I checked and I watched this video, it already had 6.3 million views, and it had only been up for a day. And
Jesus.
yeah, and it was number one trending on YouTube, number one. And all it was just John Krasinski acting like a news anchor, sitting at home from clearly what is like, his like dining room table, with picture in the background that said SGN, which is, obviously short for Some Good News, that was all colored in with crayons that he said his daughter's made. And all it was him talking about like heartwarming shit that his followers had sent into him over Twitter when he asked them, hey, I want to cover some good news stories amidst all this bad news. And so what really, and clearly it worked, because to be number one trending on YouTube, something's working, and to get 6.3 million views in under a day, I mean, that's like, you're killing it. And I think what he did right was he took what's going on with the coronavirus pandemic, and he gave people something that provides value amidst all of this bad news, the nonstop coverage of crap that we see. How about some good news? And people are craving that right now. And that's exactly what people needed and wanted, and it worked. And holy shit, in one day, in one video, he's got a YouTube channel that is now going to absolutely crush it. I mean, based on preliminary results. So that would be my number one example of what to do right now during this crisis with your marketing.
So I mean, essentially, now is the time to be authentic and human. Like, hey, I'm not the company. I'm John, and I run the social media, and I'm scared. Like, this is really stressing me out, and things aren't going very well. And like the company is still okay, but you look in the news, and it seems like it's the end of the world, and everybody's stressing out, and it's just like, any good news from anybody would be fantastic right about now. And that sort of authenticity, I think, would go a long way, as opposed to your typical corporate doublespeak, toe the line, like speak to people like people.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, and this is really number one, on our list of 10 ways you need to change your marketing is have empathy. Be a human and don't come across as tone deaf. If you've got ads running, that you set up before all this shit started going down, you probably need to turn those off, or you need to remessage those. Um, so that would be my number one. But I know that if you're in sales or if you're a salesperson, you're probably thinking, well, I've got quotas. I need to hit my numbers, and I get that, and I respect that. I think that you're going to need to think about how to do that in a different way than you're used to right now because of everything that's going on. Things that may have worked, a few months ago before the crisis started happening probably won't work right now. It'll sound tone deaf. So be a human, be empathetic. That would be my number one.
Agreed.
Yep. So, Sam, what do you think about for number two?
I'd say using content marketing, and it doesn't specifically have to be a blog post or even a podcast, right? But create something, give more than you're getting, put some value out there, put together something that others can consume and benefit from, and don't just toot your own horn. I think would be a big one, which goes very much in line with number one.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Now's the time, if you haven't, to start that content marketing campaign, that strategy. Build an editorial calendar for yourself and hold yourself to it. Some other ideas: you could conduct a survey. If you've got an email list, you could send that survey to your list and aggregate all of the results of that survey and put it together as a research report. I've seen several
Totally, you could
companies doing that. Yeah, what were you going to say?
you could blog on your website,
Yep.
timely topics that could help people. Everybody working from home, right? Like a couple of good blog posts about that subject. To be fair, everybody's doing that,
Yeah.
but still a useful one, right? You may have some unique insight on working from home that somebody else hasn't thought of.
Yeah, absolutely. And a few months ago, I published a couple articles on my blog at emailanalytics.com. One of them is called 7 Ways to Monitor Employees Working from Home, and the other is called 15 Working from Home Productivity Statistics. And lately, those have been my top two performing articles on my site, just driving tons of traffic. So
Interesting.
my traffic is actually way up since the crisis began, which is uh, that is an outlier. Like most companies, most people I talk to are saying traffic is way down, and that traffic is coming from organic search. So this is Google sending me traffic for people that are clearly looking for advice, help, and ideas because they've been forced to work from home. So this is examples of how you can create content that can help people. And granted, I created that content before the crisis began. I did not look into a crystal ball and see this coming. I got lucky. But I will say that once I saw those two articles doing really well, I hustled and I made a new blog post called 51 Working from Home Tips That Are Scientifically Proven to Boost Your Productivity. And I put that one out, and it has done super, super well also because it's timely. It's exactly what people are looking for. And then I took it a step further and I had infographics made for that post and for others. And then I started sharing those infographics on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook. And those infographics have been getting shared and reshared. And that's driving brand awareness and traffic and likes. And it's boosting me up in all sorts of social algorithms. And frankly, it makes me feel good because I'm able to support my business during the crisis, and I'm also able to do so in a way that provides value and help to people who are looking for that. And so I think that's a really good, content marketing is what that is, and that's a great. There's never a bad time to do content marketing, but now is a pretty damn good time to do it.
And at the same time, right, working on content marketing, there's never a bad time to be working on SEO. Search engine optimization is one of those things that takes a lot of time to really ramp up. It compounds much like financial investments. And the more you do now, especially when a lot of people are starting to pull back on their marketing budgets, if you double down, like you're going to get quite a lead out of that. Doing better keyword research or competitive analysis, trying to identify interesting opportunities. Spending a lot of time poking around Google Trends would be a good use of time right now. See what's going up and what's going down, and how people are searching and how things are changing in different locations.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
using some free audit tools to look for issues, testing your site speed, better internal linking on your posts, like anything you can do to not only create new stuff, but optimize the stuff that you're creating to get the most bang for your buck, you should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll leave some examples of tools and resources where you can, test site speed or get free website audits in the show notes. So be sure to check that out.
Or have me do an audit. Cough, cough.
Yeah. So if you're listening, so Sam is an SEO expert, and he runs a company called Voodoo Marketing, which specializes in SEO audits. So he might be a good resource for you during this time if you're looking for some help with SEO.
Audits are my jam. It's like a big puzzle.
So number 4, I would say, Sam, would probably be to start a podcast. That is actually why we're here. And the reason why I like audio content is that it's real, it's genuine, it has human emotion in it, and that emotion is hard to convey over written text. Right now, I think everyone needs a little empathy. So it's not too difficult to start a podcast. I mean, here we are doing it. You got to find someone who you can. Well, you don't have to have a co-host, but most shows do. Sam,
it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to have somebody to bounce things back and forth with.
Right.
And I've been nattering at you to do a podcast for the last 2 years, so I'm glad I finally got you on board.
You finally got me, but I'm glad I'm digging it. So I'm happy we're here doing this. Nice. You want to talk about number 5?
So starting a YouTube channel, looking at what John Krasinski did with the Some Good News, right? Like, that's a great way to go about it. But you could do anything. I think a YouTube channel that would probably do really, really well right now would be something that is like a bit tongue-in-cheek with working from home. Maybe having your kids running around in the background as you run a mock Zoom could be really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really funny.
Oh, yeah.
I saw, so Will Wheaton of Star Trek fame shared a photo on Instagram today or yesterday, where essentially the whole cast of Star Trek The Next Generation got on to a Zoom call together for Marina Sirtis's birthday. And I was like, that's awesome. Something like that would do so well. Getting, cast members together from shows, or just doing like funny Zoom meetings or Zoom parodies. I think that'd be a really interesting show.
Oh, yeah. That reminds me of something I saw go viral, I don't know, maybe a few years back, where they were parodying how awful it is to be on a conference call when you're in like an office.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? Yeah. And it was, everybody saw that video, and I forget who the advertiser was now, but at the time it just went everywhere, and it was funny, and everybody was wanting to reshare it because it was so true. So video really can strike a good chord, and I think it's a great channel if you have the resources to do it. All right, number 6, I would say PPC. So I was listening to Neil Patel and Eric Sue's marketing school podcast the other day, and they were noting that they had data that social PPC campaigns, the cost per clicks, are down like 50 to 60% right now because of the crisis. Everybody's kind of pulling back budget and trying to save. And if prices are that low, it might be a good time to dip into social ads, pay per click. But I would caution that if you're going to do that, don't push a direct offer. Don't say, hey, come buy my shit. Instead, build ads to your content that you've created as part of that content marketing campaign we've been talking about. Yes. And drive people to that to build top of funnel awareness and authority. What do you think about that, Sam?
I think that's fantastic. I think that's actually generally the best use of social advertising. Mm-hmm. I mean, assuming you're not running e-commerce and you have the margins to make direct click to purchase work. But for the most part, I've found social advertising to be extremely effective in content marketing to help boost and get things in front of the right audience. And in this case, to help retarget to these people later when things are a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I worked with a friend of both of ours, AJ Wilcox, who he has his own podcast, and he's also known as sort of the premier LinkedIn ads marketer out there. And one thing I learned from him was exactly that. When you're going to make social ads, the best way to do it is to drive ads to your content and let your content do the selling. Don't try to sell within your ad copy. So big lesson learned there from a guy who would know a thing or two about it.
Yeah, I mean, especially on LinkedIn, right? You're dealing with a very different type of audience, and you've got to build some trust before you go for the close.
Yeah, absolutely. Where are we at? Number 7, Sam.
Social media. So jumping into conversations, whether it's conversations around your business or conversations around trending topics, using hashtags to get more eyeballs on your content, not to be salesy, but to be helpful and human and, add value to this conversation that's going on right now around the world.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Reddit is a great place to go participate. One thing about Reddit to be careful of is don't do anything self-promotion-y. They will ban you. They're very strict about that. Just go participate in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, and every subreddit has their own rules. So depending on where you're gonna dip your toes in there, make sure you read the rules of that subreddit because they can be very aggressive.
So number 8, I would say answer questions on Quora. So Quora is it's like Yahoo Answers, but all grown up. If you remember Yahoo Answers, it's just a place where people go ask questions, and you can go search keywords, and then you can answer those questions. And it's pretty simple, but the best answers get voted to the top, and then they stay there indefinitely. So if anybody else comes along to Quora and sees if anybody else has asked a question that they already have, they'll type in a search, they'll find that question, they'll see your answer if yours was the best. And the cool thing about Quora is you can leave a link to your site or to your blog post that sort of expands on your answer within your answer. So it could be a great way to provide value, get inbound links, and drive referral traffic. So I really like Quora. That would be
I like it
number
too.
8.
I mean, some of the answers in there get so in depth, and you get people who are famous experts, like deep, deep experts, best-selling authors. It feels like everybody's on Quora, and so you get some really, really amazing answers in some of
Yeah,
those threads. I like Quora.
definitely. And I've seen that Quora it tends to rank really well in search results too. I don't know if you've noticed that. Have you seen that? Like Quora threads ranking really high in search results?
Yeah, it depends a lot on the
Yeah.
query, but it definitely can.
Yep.
But some of them you get, sometimes you'll be lucky if you get an answer to something you ask, because you can ask questions and not just answer. But sometimes you ask something and you get one answer, two answers. Sometimes you get like 50, and they each tackle it from a slightly different angle.
Yep.
Some support, some refute. It makes sense that it would rank well since they're tackling a topic from a lot of different angles.
Yeah, it's true. It's a great resource. I would definitely check that out. Number
Number
9.
9,
Yeah, go for it.
Hera.
Yes.
Help a reporter out. So I heard the guy who started Hera, Peter Shankman. I heard him speak back in, I want to say 2009 or 2010 at a conference in Utah. He was hilarious, really funny guy, but I'd never heard of Hera before that. And so I started using it off and on back then. Essentially, it's a platform where journalists will say, hey, I'm looking to write a story about this topic. I need experts who fit this criteria, and I need to hear from you by this day and time. And you can essentially tell them why you're the right person, give the answer to their question, and maybe end up getting quoted in all kinds of mainstream and less mainstream media outlets.
It's awesome. Yes, and it works. So actually just I think it was on just a few days ago, I in one day got 3 links that were really, really good. So I got a link because I had responded to journalist queries. I got a link from business.com in an article they were doing about the pandemic. I got a link in seekcapital.com, and I got quoted and linked in legalzoom.com, which is obviously a huge website with lots of authority.
Nice.
So, and that was just in one day. And I've been getting a trickle of links, maybe several a week at the rate that I've been going. Granted, I've been responding to about anywhere between like 2 to 6 Hera queries every day over the last month or so, but I'm seeing a conversion rate of maybe around 20%. But I really like it. It's not hard to write answers to these queries. It usually only takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes per query to answer it. And what you can do with that content, even if it doesn't get picked up by the journalist, is you can go post that on LinkedIn or something, and use that as just provide advice to your network and sort of build your brand awareness and personal brand there. That's what I've been doing. So you don't have to waste that content. I really like Hera. It's a great resource.
That's interesting. I mean, considering what you could pay to acquire links like those, whether it's through a PR agency or otherwise, like spending an hour to get 1 or 2 really high quality links is a very good ROI.
Oh yeah. So those 3 links that I just told you, So I used to run a marketing agency, and the value of those 3 links would have come out to over $2,000. That's how much we would have charged to help clients get links on sites of those calibers, not those specific sites, but of those calibers. And we would
$2,000 an hour is a good ROI.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not on Hera, go check it out. The cool thing is it's free. Like you get 3 emails a day. You just look at your emails, find queries that are relevant to your expertise, answer them, and then you wait. And then some of your answers will get picked up, and whenever they do, you almost always get a link with it. So it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yep. Number 10 would be along similar lines, I suppose, would be guest posting on other websites. So this is more along the lines of, getting links from other websites and sort of getting that offsite authority. It's kind of a long process to explain to go, to do guest posting. So we can leave a link in the show notes about, the steps you need to follow. But in a nutshell, what you do is you find sites that you want to have links from, and you can start by maybe looking at what sites your competitors who are ranking well have links from, and identifying which sites you also want to get links from. Then you find who to contact at those sites, usually like an editorial or a content manager or a blog manager or something of that sort, and you reach out to them. This can be over email or LinkedIn. And you essentially pitch them and say, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's who I represent, and I would love to contribute to your blog if you accept guest contributions. Here are some examples of my previous work. Follow up with them until you get a response, and some of the responses will be, sure, we'd love to have you. And that's really what it is. And then you contribute content to those blogs. And what this does is it gets you inbound links, which helps from an SEO perspective. And it also builds your awareness with a new audience. So you're tapping into, the audience of the site that you're posting on. They'll also often, promote your post via social media, which is an extra bonus.
Super effective.
Yep.
And so, I mean, all of these, right? Like these all follow with the thread of be authentic, give back, add value, not about taking, but about what you can create, what you can put out there, what people can benefit from. And it's amazing how powerful that reciprocity ends up being, right? People go out there, they look for things, they find your stuff, they love it, it makes them feel good, they want to do business with you at some point or have some sort of connection because of what you did for them.
Yep.
And all of those are super powerful.
Absolutely. I saw a stat the other day that, most people buy from companies where they feel that the salesperson is also an advisor. And you know what? It doesn't have to be a human as the salesperson. Your content can be your salesperson. If somebody reads a great piece of content that you wrote, even if whether it's on your blog or somewhere else, they will feel like you are an advisor if that content helped them, and they'll seek you out and learn more. So yeah, provide value, be a human, give back. I think that's sort of the core lessons, I think, for how to change your marketing during the coronavirus pandemic.
Cool. May everybody go out there and change your marketing and not be saying, hey, we're all in this together, buy my shit.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Well, cool. Thanks, you guys. We will. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next show.
See you later.